Okay, I'm back with a short video, some follow-ups of a few things I've done, and a couple of questions that has been asked. We'll start off with the CG. I've had a few people ask me about the CG. I don't know the CG of the plane as of yet because I don't have the engine and the plane isn't finished, so I'm not able to really balance the plane. Okay, when I had the plane on the Zycoy balancer, that was only to check the total weight of the plane as it came to me. So the last thing I will do will be the balancing, and that's the very last thing that I'm going to do once I finish everything in the plane. But they give you these jigs. I don't know if everybody's getting these things in the kit or in the completed version. I would think so. They give you these jigs to put on the spar. Okay, and I mentioned, and to a response, somebody asked me, there was a video showing Pilot RC using this. So they put it between the wing and the fuselage, and then they put a pipe in between these wire pieces that they have, and they suspend this thing off the floor. Now in the video that I seen, it was nose heavy, and people have asked about the plane being nose heavy. Yes, it was slightly nose heavy in that video. And someone mentioned about maybe in the older versions it was done differently, the plane balanced differently. I don't know. This is my first one from them, so I have no idea. The book calls for 185 millimeters from the leading edge. So when I get to that point of balancing the plane, I'm going to put it on the Zycoy balancer, and then I'm going to compare it to using this jig. I'm going to suspend the plane like a couple of inches up off the floor. I'm gonna have I have it down here in this basement. I have these beams, so I can rig up something to secure it, and then lift the plane up off the floor, and then play with the weights, move things around, and see how the plane actually balances. So again, I won't know that until I actually finish the model. So there's other things that I'm doing right now to get the model to that point. But the person that originally started the RC group thread of this particular plane, this Pilot RC 1.8 meter jet, he showed in his in some pictures in the forum how he moved things around to change the CG. I think in the beginning it was a little bit nose heavy, and he moved some things back. And I think one of the things that I read in the pictures he showed, he moved the UA2 tank closer to the fuel tank. So I think that's when he was able to get his CG where he wanted it to be. Okay, so that's it for the CG. The other thing I did was with the fuel tank. Okay, I think I mentioned before, I had an 80-ounce Dubro tank that was going to be used in another projects, and I didn't care for the round tank that came with the plane, and I just feel that the thing is going to move around. It's only have straps that's holding it. The bottom of the fuel tank tray is slick. So anyway, there was a way of doing that, and I didn't feel like that tank is going to be enough fuel. So I'm not going with the 102 King Tech engine now. I'm going to go with a 120 King Tech engine. I know someone that has an engine. He pulled from his model, and he's going with a bigger engine in his model. So I'm going to go with the 120. His suggestion was he thinks the plane would be better with the 120. So it is a tad bit heavier than the 102, but it has like 6-7 pounds more thrust. So hopefully that works out. Anyway, I epoxied this 24-ounce fuel tank to the 80-ounce fuel tank, And I had to put some strips in here because the tank didn't sit evenly, it's kind of wobbly. So these strips on both sides made this tank balance out evenly, and then in the center, on the bottom center, which sits in here, so I epoxied the crap out of this thing. So it isn't going anywhere. So now I'm going to just have to finish plumbing this once it's actually in the in the plane. And one of the things I'm going to do as well, when I get the engine, I'm going to bench test the engine with the tank, see how the fuel flows out of it, and I'm also going to weigh this with once I fill this with fuel. I want to weigh this to see how much weight this is going to have. I'm thinking about, well, according to the calculations I did, it says 6 pounds. Now I know fuel is heavy, so I won't know that until I actually fill this with fuel, and then I'll weigh it, see what we have with that. Now the other thing I did with the tray for the tray, what I did, also took pictures. I made this, cut out these little blocks in here, if that's showing up. I cut out these blocks in here. Okay, so that's the so the tank will sit flush, and then I'm going to put these pieces on top, which I haven't glued yet. They're going to get glued on the top like so. Okay, and then the tank will sit, I just need this, and then the tank will sit on top. I'm going to also put Velcro stripping on here and Velcro on the bottom of the tank, so that'll keep the tank from moving. Plus I put these, made like stoppers, so that tank doesn't move back and forth or shift off of the I got a phone call. Okay, so yeah, so this here will support the tank. Like I said, I'm going to put Velcro on here and Velcro on the bottom of the tank. That'll keep it from moving. And I made like little stoppers up here, so the tank will sit in here like so. So it's not going to go off, shift back or forward. Plus the original straps that came with the plane is going to work out nice too. And I'll put these straps, I'll put these straps in here, and that's going to help hold and support this the tank in place here. Let me readjust this camera just a little bit here. Okay. So the straps will hold this tank in place as well. So that's what I did with that. The other thing I did was this tray, I guess, or platform, whatever you want to call it, that sits where the UAT is. But that UAT really takes up a lot of space there. Maybe that's why the fella that created the form also moved it to the back, but it takes up a lot of space up in the front. But anyway, I redid that platform because here, this is what the original looks like. All these holes here. So if I want to mount stuff and screw them in, I can't, because there's too many holes all over the place for me to mount things in. And this is what they had covering that. And just out of curiosity, I just started rubbing my hand across it just to feel what was there. And that's when I realized there was these holes there, so I can't screw anything down to here. So I ended up buying, which was the cheapest place I found, was Hobby Lobby. Had these hobby grade 1/8 inch 12 by 12 sheets of plywood. Other places I looked around, they were like $9-10 for the same size sheet. So I bought 3 of these things from Hobby Lobby that came a couple of days ago. So then all I did was I put this on top of that, traced it out, and then I cut out a piece. And boy, I tell you, I had to it took me some time for that. So this is what I did here. I've got 2 XT60 plugs here. This is where my receiver is going to plug in here. The retract controller supply is going to plug in here. The batteries will be for the receiver will be up in the nose, and the battery for the retract controller is going to be on the opposite side. I may have to move those things around when it comes to balancing the plane, so I may have to shift things around. And then these cutout holes is where the wire is going to feed from the wings and come up through there, and I'm going to have my control board there. Like I said, the retract controller is going to be there, and I don't know if the wiring is going to be long enough if I put the ECU up here in front, or I may have to put it somewhere else in the plane. And the other thing about batteries, coming back to the CG, you may have to move them batteries. What I was thinking, if I'm too nose heavy, especially if the turbine batteries up front, I could probably mount it under the bottom of the fuel tank near the CG, if that's going to help. And also, now that I mention that, there is room, I think I said that in the first or the second video, there is room underneath the fuel tray to put another tank, maybe a 24, probably you can get a 32 ounce under there. I don't think you can get anything bigger than a 32 ounce under that tray. So if somebody wanted to have smoke or whatever, you could actually get another tank underneath the tray, the fuel tank tray. So this is what I did. It took me some time cutting these things out. I didn't have the right equipment. I just drilled a bunch of holes, and then I had to use a box knife and pretty much chisel everything out to finally I got these things cut out the way I want. So that's the other thing I did. What else was there? And I think that's pretty much it for this video. I'm still waiting for some things to come in, and then I will make another video showing the progress of what I'm doing. Oh, the one thing I have somebody is making up some wing connectors, because these wing connectors have all your individual servo leads going in, and the power leads for the for your brakes and the retract. So I want all one connector. So someone is actually making, I'll put a link to that too. I stumbled across this fellow on the classified section of RC Groups. He actually makes these things. He will custom make the lengths or whatever. So he's custom making some lengths for me. So this way I just have to plug them in, and that's the end of it. And I'm a fool with each individual servo lead plugging into the plane. So that's going to be another, I'll show that in the next video when I get those and set the plane up. Alright, so I guess that's it for now, and I think I've answered some questions, all the questions I think that were presented to me that I can remember. I should have took notes, but I think I've answered that. So anyway, moving on to the next step, and there's no rush with this plane. That's why when I commented to some people about the CG and other things, I'm not in a rush. This is the flying season is over for us over here on the East Coast in New York and New Jersey area. So our flying season is pretty much done. We might get a spotty warm day or not so windy day here and there, but I'm not even going to bother to pull the planes out. Okay, thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next video.